During the Nazis' rise to power in the 1930s and also in the Second World War, to resist Hitler and his brutal party was an extremely dangerous thing to do. There are several high-profile acts of resistance to the Nazis that have much been written about. For example, the 20th of July plot, in which Klaus von Stauffenberg and other conspirators attempted to assassinate Hitler inside his Wolf's Lair headquarters. Also in Germany, there was a group known as the White Rose, led by brother and sister Hans and Sophie Scholl. The White Rose would lead an anti-Nazi campaign in Germany, centred around distributing anti-Nazi literature and graffiti in a Munich university. For this, the Scholls were beheaded by the guillotine. However, there are many stories of resistance against the evil Reich that aren't as well known. Today we're going to look at the story of a young Bosnian Serb who was posthumously awarded the Order of the People's Hero, the second highest military award awarded by Yugoslavia or Serbia and Montenegro's government. Today we look at the remarkable story of Lepa Radic, the 17-year-old girl executed by the Nazis. Remember, if you do enjoy these videos and find them quite interesting, please support the channel by subscribing. Lepa Radic was born on the 19th of December 1925. After graduating from elementary school, she attended the first grade of the Women's Schools of Craft and completed school in Bosanska Gradiška. As a pupil, Lepa was a conscientious student who worked hard and was interested in reading literature far above her age. She also began to become interested in politics and was heavily influenced by her uncle, Vladeta Radic, who was involved in a labour movement, and much of her family firmly believed in communism. On April 6, 1941, Hitler launched his assault against Yugoslavia to secure Germany's Balkan flank in preparation for Operation Barbarossa, the infamous invasion of the Soviet Union. Facing attacks on all fronts, Yugoslavia would quickly become defeated control over the roads and towns. However, they did not control the remote and mountainous regions of Yugoslavia. Within these mountains, Serbian resistance forces began to emerge, and this increase of resistance fighters were divided into two main groups, the Chetniks and the Partisans. The Chetniks were led by former Yugoslav Army Colonel Dragoljub Mihailovic. The Chetniks were united only by name and were made up of various subgroups who sometimes did disagree and had different interests. Some of these were extremely anti-German, however others sometimes cooperated with the Germans. All Chetniks, however, did manage to agree on their nationalist desire to ensure the survival of the Serbian population, and all displayed loyalty to the old Yugoslavian monarchy. The other group of resistance, the Partisans, were opposed to the Chetniks, as their group was extremely communist. Their leader was Josip Broz, or Tito, the head of the underground Communist Party of Yugoslavia, the KPJ. Under Tito's leadership, the Partisans' biggest goal was to establish an independent socialist Yugoslav state, overthrowing the Axis and German powers. It was into this group that Lepa Radic would throw herself into, joining the Partisans in December 1941 at around the age of 15 or 16. Her family's communist roots would help lead her into becoming a member of the Partisans. Due to their activities in the resistance movement, in November 1941, a month before Lepa joined the group, the entire Radic family was arrested by the Ustash, the fascist Nazi government set up to operate in Yugoslavia's independent state of Croatia. After a few weeks of imprisonment, the Partisans were able to free Lepa Radic and her family. It was then in which Lepa and her sister Dara would officially join the Partisans' 7th Company of the Krajewski detachment. She would volunteer to serve on the front lines by transporting the wounded on the battlefield and by helping the vulnerable to flee the Axis forces. It was for these brave actions that would lead to her downfall at such a young age. In February 1943, Lepa Radic was responsible for the transportation of the wounded Partisans in the Battle of Neretva. She was to ensure that injured soldiers would be sent to a shelter in Gromec. During this, she would help to organise a rescue of around 150 women and children who would seek refuge from the Axis forces. Lepa attempted to protect these women and children by firing and attacking the Nazi SS forces with a barrage of ammunition. During the fight against the 7th SS Volunteer Mountain Division Prince Eugen, under the command of SS Gruppenführer partisan conspirators, frustrating the Nazis, and eventually the Nazis would sentence the young girl to execution and death by hanging. On February 8, 1943, Lepa Radic was brought to a hastily constructed gallows in full view of the public. Moments before her hanging, she was offered a full pardon if she revealed the names of her partisan comrades or the names of the Communist Party leaders. Lepa refused the offer, with the words, "I am not a traitor of my people. Those whom you are asking about will reveal themselves when they have succeeded in wiping out all you evildoers, to the last man." Lepa Radic, the 17-year-old girl who defied the Nazis, was then hung publicly in front of the crowd. The legacy of Lepa Radic today still lives on. On December 20th, 1951, she was awarded the Order of the People's Hero by the Yugoslavian government for her bravery following the Second World War. At this time, she would be the youngest recipient of the second highest military medal of Yugoslavia. Today, Lepa Radic's story is not as well told or known about as the other acts of defiance against the Nazis. However, we must remember that at the heart of this story is a 17-year-old girl who defied one of history's most evil dictatorships by following what she believed was morally and politically right. For the fall of Yugoslavia saw the Wehrmacht and Axis forces carry out some of the most horrific and harrowing massacres of any population in the Second World War. Once again, thank you for watching The Untold Past. To support the channel, please subscribe and also check out some more of our videos for some Second World War content. Once again, thank you for watching.